Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a huge challenge, something every single one of us deals with. How do you actually get things done? I mean, really done, in a world that is practically begging for your attention every second of the day? Well, let's find out.
We're going to be exploring the big ideas from Cal Newport's incredible book, Deep Work. And trust me, these aren't just productivity tips. The ideas in here could completely change the way you think about your work, and maybe even how you find satisfaction in it.
You know, this struggle for focus, it's not new. Just look at the famous psychiatrist Carl Jung. Back in 1922, he literally built a stone tower for himself out in the woods. No electricity, no distractions. He knew that to do his best, most profound thinking, he had to physically escape the noise of everyday life. He had to go deep. And that idea perfectly sets up the main battle happening in our own work lives. It's this constant tug of war, this core conflict of modern work. The fight between deep and shallow.
So, what are we talking about here? Well, on one side, you've got deep work. This is the stuff that really matters. It's tough, it requires all your concentration, it builds your skills, and frankly, it's what makes you valuable. Then, on the other side, you've got shallow work. You know this stuff well. It's the endless emails, the meetings about meetings, all the logistical busy work that makes you feel like you're working but doesn't actually create anything new.
Okay. So if deep work is obviously so much more valuable, why does it feel like our entire work culture is set up to prevent it? How did shallow work become the default for so many of us? Let's dig into that.
First up is something Newport calls the principle of least resistance. I mean, let's be real for a second. What's easier in any given moment, blocking out 2 hours for a really hard, cognitively demanding project, or just quickly checking your inbox, right? We naturally drift toward the easier, more comfortable behavior, and that's almost always the shallow stuff.
And then there's this other big trap, using busyness as a stand-in for productivity. For a lot of us knowledge workers, it's not like we have a stack of widgets to show at the end of the day. So how do we prove we're valuable? We make sure our calendars look full. We respond to emails at lightning speed. We show everyone how busy we are, hoping they'll assume that means we're also being productive.
And the third culprit? Newport calls it the cult of the internet. It's this kind of unspoken cultural belief that if a tool or a behavior is related to the internet, think social media, instant messaging, being constantly connected, then it must be innovative and good for business. We just adopt these things without ever stopping to ask, hey, is this actually helping me do my job better, or is it just making me more distracted?
So what's the end result of all these forces? Well, look at this. A McKinsey study found that the average knowledge worker spends a whopping 60% of their week, 60%, just on emails and searching the web. Just let that sink in. We're spending the majority of our precious work time splashing around in the shallow end.
And all that splashing around, all that task switching, has a real cognitive cost. Every single time you take a quick glance at your phone or your inbox, you create something called attention residue. Basically, a part of your brain stays stuck thinking about that last thing you saw. So when you go back to your important work, you're doing it with less brain power. It's like you're sabotaging your own focus, one tiny interruption at a time.
Okay, that all sounds pretty bleak, right? But here is the massive silver lining. Because almost everyone is caught in this trap of shallowness, it creates an incredible opportunity for anyone who's willing to swim against the current. This is where you gain a serious advantage.
And this right here, this is the central idea of the whole book. It's the deep work hypothesis. As our economy demands more and more complex work, the ability to focus becomes more and more valuable. But at the exact same time, because of all the distractions, that ability is becoming incredibly rare. And when something is both valuable and rare, that, my friends, is your secret weapon.
Think about what it takes to really succeed today. Newport argues it boils down to two key abilities. First, being able to learn complicated stuff fast. And second, being able to produce work at an elite level. We're talking top-tier quality and speed. And what's the one thing you need for both of those? You guessed it, the capacity for deep, uninterrupted concentration. This simple formula changes the game. Your output, the high-quality stuff you produce, isn't just a function of how many hours you clock in. It's the time you spend multiplied by your intensity of focus. This means 1 hour of pure, undistracted, deep work can be worth more than an entire day of fragmented, shallow effort. It's not about working more, it's about working deeper.
And if you think that sounds like an exaggeration, just look at the story of a guy named Jason Ben. He had a $40,000 a year finance job that he realized could be automated away, so he quit. He locked himself in a room with just programming books, no computer, and forced himself to learn deeply. Fast forward just 6 months, and he lands a job as a developer making $100,000 a year. That is the insane power of deep work in action.
But here's the thing, this is about so much more than just boosting your productivity or your salary. Cultivating the ability to work deeply can actually change the quality of your life and how meaningful it feels. Take a master blacksmith named Rick Furr. He pours hundreds of hours of intense, focused craftsmanship into recreating historical swords. And he says this, "I don't need a sword, but I have to make them." He doesn't need the end product. He needs the process. The deep, challenging, focused work is what gives his life purpose. Psychologists actually have a name for this experience. It's called flow. Research from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has shown again and again that human beings are at their happiest, not when they're vegging out on the couch, but when their minds are stretched to their limits pursuing a worthwhile goal. Deep work is basically a recipe for creating more of these flow states in your life.
On a neurological level, it's even more profound. Your brain literally builds your perception of reality based on what you pay attention to. So, if you spend all day bouncing between shallow, annoying tasks, your brain creates a reality that feels fragmented and stressful. But if you spend your time immersed in deep, meaningful challenges, your brain constructs a reality that feels rich, purposeful, and satisfying.
So, when you boil it all down, it really just comes to this. You're faced with a choice. The world will keep pushing you towards the shallow end, but you have this incredible opportunity to deliberately build something far more powerful and way more fulfilling.
As the writer Eric Barker puts it, deep work isn't just another item for your to-do list. In our current economy, which increasingly rewards complex skills that can't be easily automated, the ability to concentrate is nothing short of a superpower. And in the end, it really is a philosophy for living. Choosing deep work is choosing craftsmanship over distraction. It's choosing meaning over busyness. It's a simple but powerful idea. A deep life is a good life. So the question I want to leave you with is this. The ability to concentrate is a skill. Like learning a language or an instrument, it's not fixed. You can practice it, strengthen it, and cultivate it into something amazing. Or you can let it wither away in the constant noise of distraction. Which one will it be?
Because make no mistake, the world is only going to get louder and more distracting. The shallow end of the pool is going to get more and more crowded. So the final question really is, are you going to be content just treading water with everyone else? Or are you going to make the choice to go deep and to thrive?